Hi, this is the Digital DNA podcast, Digital Netizens Awaken, and I'm Richard Wright.
And I'm Monique Halen. And for this episode, we're joined by a very special guest. We're joined by Toby, who's one of my digital twin team members that's based in Switzerland. And Toby's going to talk to us a bit about technology, a little bit about cryptocurrency and, what's wrong with it and what MDT is going to do to make it better. Hi, Toby.
Hi.
Hi, thank you for having me. My name is Toby. I'm CTO from MD Twin. I'm happy to be on the broadcast.
Toby, it's good to have you here from the technology perspective. We're talking to people trying to educate them about the space and MDT. But for investors, why would they want to invest in something like this?
I think the internet, as I think we met a long time ago, and you said the internet is broken, and that's correct. And investors they need to have a return of invest. That's of course. But what is the return of invest based on? And why do we want to have something that is going to be more value for long term, mid term, and as well short term? It's not about the question what you're getting quickly out of something and the bailout. It's something that we're going to build is a secure haven for the actual money. And the actual money which we have built on, the whole globe is currently built on, is on beliefs. Belief that the market is working.
Yeah.
Beliefs that the value of the exchange of any goods, the trades are fair and going to be something in the middle with someone is going to lose, someone is going to win. What we're going to build in MD Twin in technical perspective is the change of the behavior, what is this based on? And that goes a little bit back to how the value of money was built on. It's markets bound to gold, bound to values, bound to goods. And that's what MD Twin is going to build on. It's technology-wise. We have a blockchain. We have a coin-based tokenization of data, and the tokenization of data based on their value. If you have a bunch of data, it doesn't mean it's something worth. It needs to mean something needs to be validated. And that's what we're going to build. It's a structure between the value of a coin to the data, the people and the public put in, as well as corporates decides.
So
I think that's going to be the change.
Mm-hmm. So to an investor, what would this mean? I mean, can we scale the value of something like this?
Yes, you can scale it, and the scale is not just bound to people, it also bounds to value of corporate data, value of, let's say, data which, for example, the health sector, the bank sector, you name it. For example, you have the data of any industries with suppliers you have. All those data have value. But if no one is approving this value, it's just some data. And the Twin is building up on this value and validation of each individual, corporate, and as well, of course, trading of those data, because this is going to be interesting. And that's the interest part of any investors who wants to not just give money to something that has a belief in a product. We have to believe that we change to the value of any data, and that's the main chain of that one. It's not about we believe in the product, we have the product because it's based on data and not on just some what's it called?
Well, it's not based on speculation, is it? It's actually based on something. There's no speculation. It's based on something real. There's real value.
It's very real. It's science. It's basically science.
And there's no other coin that does that, is there?
No. There is, from the currently stage of every coin, of every real money to us. There's always, we believe in the market and we have to believe it. And it fails because people starting not to believe. Because in Switzerland, if we buy something for 1 franc, the value exchange is sort of the market place. But it's just because the demand and the request. I'm not an expert in marketing and I'm not an expert in markets and globally in stock market at all. But I understand really well data and really understand IT. So I think it's important that we have this really tight and really connection between my data is my value. And it can be in a corporate, and this is going to be the exchange what it is bound to. Not about something that it's just made up and people hope it's going to be a success, because we're going to have a success because we don't build on hope, we build on data, which are coming from all the clients around the globe. I want to talk about what we need to consider, and that's very important, is about what is the world is changing. We have a global change of political stress globally. The world is changing. And one of the things we discovered, or which I'm very lately in deep discussions, not just about a discussion, is more about development, is, and that's the main goal for the MD Twin, is you don't want to build a legacy product. All governments currently around the globe produce legacy modes. That means basically they're going to produce something now which will be vulnerable and hacked in 2027 to 2030 because of quantum computing. And even the coins currently on the planet, all the logins, everything currently is done by Shor algorithms. Shor algorithms are like the EAS, the 2K, and all the elliptic curves, which are not, it's very vulnerable. Even if the Glovers algorithms will be hacked or will be cracked very quick. And this is something which is very important. And this has come down to MD Twin. Why do we build something which has value? Not just value about the value of the data as well, the value of the weight of the data. Basically, it makes more, if you have data that is more accurate, more validated, and more secure, it makes you as a person in control of your data, the ownership of something that you can control, and it's bound to the value of a token. So in global perspective, because we are in a very fragile world currently in stage, that we have political, let's say, stress factors, and we have let's say, economic stress factors. So you can see that in the US, you can see that in all around the globe, they are stressed out. They are feeling a little bit not in charge and as well unsecure, because they don't know if that's going to be, if they're going to invest in a stock market and whatever, if it's going to be, that saving is going to be good for the future. So in this perspective, the MD Twin and the ownership of your data, with the consideration of creating post-quantum security in the chain, as well in the validation of any data security and data validation, you're going to have a bound, which was before like the dollar to the gold or the Swiss franc to the gold, whatever it was, tied to something that has value, that has limited resources, limited amount, and that's what is then important, because then it's more than the trade about the value of the data, not the trade about the volume of the data. Because you can print out money, every bank can do that, but you can't make out of thin air just more gold. You can't create a thin air, just more value data. You can create data, but if it's not worth, the weight of the data is not validated, it
Has to be
has basically
authentic.
no effect on the coin.
So this is a
So
game changer then compared to what anyone else is offering right now, right?
yes, exactly. This is going to be the game changer and will be the main driven philosophy behind a coin that has a meaning behind anything. It's just not just like uh, gold diggers, rollers, high rollers, or cowboys who just want to make some bucks about prophecy that this is going to be something worth in the future. So
Let me ask you a question. I
yeah.
think I know the answer to this, but I want to ask you, who else is doing what we're talking about? Who else has got a coin that has true value?
Um, there are some, let's say, movements in the government sectors. They want to have basically it's coin based, but it's about identity.
Right.
We can compare it to identity. So basically, the digital identity is something that is building from country to country. That's something they trying to make it more in the digital world compatible with different countries. That's something every country tries to achieve. And I can little bit explain why it's a little bit failing. And it's the question is not about if a country is not able to create a digital identity for their citizens. That's done, that's possible. But everyone is thinking in one, let's say, we in Switzerland we call it, let's say, very um, you're cane thinking. You're always in this cane, and you're always in this group of let's say cantons. You're in the group of your city or your town. They're thinking about themselves. They don't think about should it be possible to trade and communicate with someone from let's say canton or from an European from another city in another country with the same standards, and that's the main thing: standards. Everyone thinks they believe or they think they are the 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 the, the brain behind a standard. Every trying to achieve some standards in the market for the economics, for example, we have a lot of standards. Let's say for the tokenization of digital tokens, that's ISO, I think 24165, something like that, if I'm not mistaken. That's a standard. That's an ISO standard that it's there. But it's only value if all the countries believe that this is a standard that they should go for. So for our perspective, the standard is not someone who's claiming or the government claims that you should use this standard. For us in our world, in the digital world, it's the standard is your data and you own the standard because you're owning the data. The communication between those cantons, those cities, is just transactions of a chain. And everyone knows that, for example, if I'm going to share information with you, Richard, or with you, Mon, that we agree to terms of our contract of basically your digital AI to make terms and conditions that we agree to it. And this is the standard we two agree to because we're going to share, for example, our standards. This is our goal and without limitation. And this breaks basically every boundaries of the rules, which is currently on the globe that big companies, big tech, and as well big players like US or other cities or countries trying to say, without our rulings, you're out. And I think that's not how the public and the IT in the global, from the perspective on the globalization and IT revolution should work. We should be able to talk to someone from China when we extend some length of values. not about standards of a government.
So you're looking at the government level, really. There's no private companies or anybody that's got a token that actually has any real value to it, right?
Yes, that's
Like
true.
Bitcoin is an investment class asset because it's on the Chicago Mercantile and because people, well, they're greedy, right? They're greedy and they want it to go up in value. And people
Yeah.
think they're FOMO, they're late to the market, they want to buy it to make money, but it has no real value, right?
Yeah.
Do any tokens out there have any real value right now?
I think a lot of the banks are looking at them, aren't they? But that will still be linked to what? The dollar. I mean, if a bank's doing a token,
Yeah.
it's going to be linked to their
Even,
dollar. Exactly.
even Tether, is it really have any value?
No.
No, because you're trying to create
It's the
utility.
value's in the demand, isn't it? It's just in the demand.
But they're trying to create utility when you can already use fiat to buy something. Why do you need to use their token? I don't understand the value. I really don't get it. So
yeah, and there is no company currently, private company or public company, that links, because that's the most difficult thing, links value of a coin to data, which is validated.
No one's done it. So I think what
Now
we're
it's done,
talking
yeah.
No. So I think this is an area that once people start to understand what we're talking about, we'll be very competitive.
Yeah.
I hope so.
Yeah,
well,
and I think that's the most let's say that's the holy grail of tokenization. I spoke to a lot of people from other, let's say, token creators. They want to have that, and that's the difference. Is investors, they want to just make a lot of quick money. It's not about the long term, let's say, goals. And if you want to have something that is sustainable for and helping not just the one who can afford invest in something, which a small investors invest to the belief that they can make money, which you can play against. I'm not an expert in stock market, in things like that, but I know data. I know data analytics. I understand data, and for me, the current tokenization and current, let's say, crypto world is the same. I'm going to make a profound word for that. BS, not written, which is basically the same thing which we had done before for the last thousands of years. It's just another name, but we lost the path of having true value to something that has something worth. When you go back to the first, let's say, coins which were created by human long time ago in the antiques, they need to have some value to that, because that was basically the main goal was to create something that you can bring to the market without bringing your cow to the market to extend some goods.
It's trading.
It's a trade.
Yeah.
And that's what we want to do, trade data. Yeah.
Yeah, and we're going to trade data. We're going to have a value to something that you can't always take with you, because you need to have it validated. And we're going to make this coin bound directly to this value you have. And it's going to be cruel, because I know that I'm not the same worth that someone else has value of the data personally, but that's how it is. I'm just going to be a part of that, but my value of my data, which we can share, we can negotiate. It's about not just about tokenization, about your interests. It's about tokenization about you're looking for a job. Your tokenization about I'm having a new mortgage going up and things like that. It's going to all those data. You have a value on your life, which is driven by data, and you can basically have this trade with your digital twin about your interactions, and you can buy and sell any of yours, and it's yours. And that's what the important thing. It's yours. It's always going to be your data and not someone else's.
But the actual coin is a collective. It's the
Yes,
value of everybody's data
Which
determines
we'll
the
know
value
every
of the
day.
coin.
exactly.
Yes,
And
yeah, that's it.
it has also, if you go, let's say I was used to be a gamer, but for example, something is I call it, let's say, interaction with each other. If you're a player or let's say a digital owner of your own data, that's one thing. But we all in this call, I met Richard, I haven't met you, Man. I'm looking forward to do that. But when I'm meeting you, I can assure, okay, I can validate your data that you're you. I can see your face. I saw the interactions. So basically, it's not just about validate your data. You can gain additional, let's say, value by validating personal data. You can do that in a very big scope. You can have then also company who are able to validate information from things like this. And this is going to basically, I'm going into another topic, but it's the same thing. It's about the chain of suppliers in the corporate world we have to deal with in the future. Let's say supply chain issues with tier 1 to tier N. Same goes for personal life. For personal data, you have a chain of validation because you want to have all the colleagues, the family, your colleagues in the corporate or in the world. Those validations will go back to you as a source of information, and this gives you more credibility. And this is basically part of the algorithm, which is very important. That is based on data. With every weight of data needs to be validated and needs to be verified. And that's why at the beginning I said about the quantum computer security, all those things. We want to make sure it's not just here for the next 1 year, 2 years, 4 years, 5 years. It's there for good. Because the internet's never going to forget about the data, but we want to make sure your data is protected by yourself for the future until you die, and then you have a successor that can take over or erase completely your data, because you should be able to be forgotten. You should have the possibility to erase the things, but it's up to you in your contract, in your digital contract and digital twin.
Look, the security is definitely a big part of what we need to ensure.
Yeah,
That's
built from the beginning. Like, it needs to definitely be unhackable.
Yeah, I mean that's we have currently four. In this year, the NIST standard will define the 4 winners of the post-quantum security algorithms. There is the crystals, delirium, and the crystals Kurt, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. And there are 2 other ones. They're for signing, for logging, all those things. This is one of the most important things. If you don't do that correctly in the beginning, not just the logging part, as well the encryption part, the signing part. If you don't do that correctly at the beginning, you will, as the beginning I said, create a legacy mode. You will create something that has no value, because it will never going to be successful for the future. Because when your data can be breached, data can be taken over someone else. That's just basically bank robbery and things like that. And we want to prevent this digitally. So that's not going to be possible, that someone can steal your data, someone can steal your contract, can steal your ownership of whatever you would like to have.
That can happen.
Toby, are you saying that the existing cryptocurrencies are at risk of being hacked? Like, they are, because of the way they were built?
The blockchain itself, it's not the problem. The blockchain is secured. The access to the blockchain is absolutely huge garbage. All coins.
Because the only access is a password, isn't it? What's
Most
the
of them,
access?
sometimes they have 2FA with SMS, sometimes they have
Yeah, but it's
whatever
not
it
enough.
is.
It's
That's
not,
not, no, never.
there's no
Even the signing of
biometrics, there's nothing.
something,
Yeah.
even signing something, a contract digitally, is just utter BS currently at this stage. Because
Yeah.
it's Shor algorithms and Glover's algorithms, which we know for a fact it's going to be hacked, it's going to be breached, and it's very simple. I mean, the question is about I don't want to explain, let's say, the quantum computing, but it's very obvious and very simple. So what can a quantum computer do, or what is actually doable? If you have let's say, every mobile phone can make a calculation 15,365 times 1 million point, whatever it is, a number, huge number. You will get the multiplication in an instant. But you have 35,600,000,000, whatever a number, and you want to know which both numbers were the multiplication factors. This takes years and years and years to do by normal standards. You can't do that. That was built, the whole structure of algorithms was built about it's not doable by computer. And the quantum computer can do that in an instant. And that's what it's at stake. So when we build MD Twin, make sure the tokens are secured, that the whole blockchain is there. We need to make sure every person's interest in their data and the data they have are 100% secured with the signing, with the logging, with their interaction on all platforms, not just about high-end computers as well, on a small scale when you have just a huge, let's say, a mobile device which have not a huge bandwidth, all those things. We need to make sure this is taken care of.
I think investors should be really interested in this, and we'll reach out to investors. We're talking about a little more MDT today than the market per se, but we are looking for investors to build this out. So anyone that's listening, or anyone that knows anybody that may be interested, please reach out.